No one can really explain the exact sequence of events that unfolded here at the house last November.
Amanda Knox and her ex-boyfriend, in connection with the death of 21-year-old British student Meredith Kercher.
Well, the house where Meredith was murdered still holds its secrets.
Meredith Kercher was found lying in a pool of blood with her throat slit.
Was it a sex game gone horribly wrong? That's what Italy's Supreme Court wants to find out.
I felt like I was alone in the world. I was isolated. I was scared. I could not make sense what was happening to me, and that made me feel so small.
In late 2007, the eyes of the world were drawn to the Italian city of Perugia for the gruesome murder of a foreign exchange student and twisted tales of sex games gone wrong that emerged from its picturesque facade of steep mountain streets and centuries-old buildings. Meredith Kercher, a 21-year-old from Surrey, England, had been sexually assaulted and stabbed to death, with her 20-year-old American roommate, Amanda Knox, and Knox's boyfriend, Raffaele Sollecito, emerging as primary suspects. Although all conclusive physical evidence pointed elsewhere, Italian prosecutors focused on the alleged wrongdoings of the University of Washington student, whose MySpace nickname of Foxy Knoxy spawned countless stories of her being a promiscuous man-eater.
Amanda and Raffaele said they spent the night together at Raffaele's apartment, but within days they were arrested. From the start, the Italian and the British press have painted a dark portrait of Amanda, dubbing her the angel face with the icy blue eyes.
Knox and Sollecito were eventually acquitted, but only after they were twice convicted and spent years in jail over a nightmare of a case that covered the better part of a decade and failed to satisfy the families of both the accused and the victim. September 20, 2007, Knox moves into her Perugia cottage, the cottage, already occupied by Kercher and two Italian women in the upstairs apartment, and 4 male students in the one below, is said to be in a bad neighborhood, with drug dealers. Lingering at the nearby basketball court, October 25, 2007, Knox meets Sollecito at a classical music concert. Following Kercher's early departure, Knox begins talking to the shy, 23-year-old computer science student she described as an Italian Harry Potter. Sollecito later visits a bar called Le Chic, where Knox is working part-time as a bartender, setting their brief but intense relationship in motion. November 2, 2007, Kercher's body is discovered, after Knox returns to the cottage in the late morning to find her roommate's door locked and an unflushed toilet in a bloody bathroom. Italian postal police break down the door to discover a semi-naked Kercher under a blanket, her throat slashed. November 6, 2007, Knox, Sollecito and bar owner Patrick Lumumba are arrested. Following a night of grueling interrogation, Knox signs a confession which she admits to being in another room of the cottage while her Le Chic boss, Lumumba, killed her roommate. Along with the confession, Knox and Sollecito's problems are complicated by their changing accounts of the night in question. At first they claimed they were together all night, then they said they were apart for a few hours, then they couldn't remember, and the seemingly carefree attitude they displayed in the murder's aftermath by going laundry shopping. November 15, 2007, an incriminating kitchen knife is reported to have been found at Sollecito's home. The 8-inch knife has traces of Kercher's DNA on the blade and Knox's DNA on the handle. Sollecito later writes that he had once accidentally pricked Kercher's hand while the three of them were cooking. November 20, 2007, Rudy Gade is arrested. Gade, a 20-year-old student Perugia, is pulled from a train in Germany after investigators find his DNA on bloody prints at the crime scene and inside Kercher's body.
Chito held her down, and then a second man forced her to have sex. Amanda Knox cut her throat.
Killed Meredith in a drug-fueled sex game gone awry.
Cut the throat of her friend while involved in an extreme sex game.
That was the only story that they could put in front of people that was compelling enough to carry through a conviction.
Gade says that he had consensual sex with the victim that night and that he was in the bathroom when an unidentified man entered and killed Kercher. Meanwhile, Lumumba is released from custody, though he remains a suspect. January 10, 2008, Sollecito's DNA is reported to have been found on Kercher's bra clasp. The clasp, retrieved from Kercher's room nearly 7 weeks after the murder, bolsters the prosecution's assertion that the suspects engaged in a dangerous sex game with the victim, though it also supports the defense's criticisms of a sloppy investigation and contaminated crime scene. October 28, 2008, Gade is sentenced to 30 years in prison. Knox and Solesito are ordered to stand trial. Gade had elected to undergo a fast-track trial separate from the other defendants. That same day, a judge determines that there is enough evidence for Knox and Solesito to stand full trial on murder charges. January 16, 2009, the Kercher murder trial begins. After 14 months in jail, Knox and Solesito appear in a Perugia court for the start of the murder trial. The presiding judge determines that the high-profile proceedings can be held with the media present, but no live television coverage. June 12, 2009, Knox testifies in her defense, taking the stand for the first time in the case. Knox testifies that she spent the night of the murder at her boyfriend's home, where they smoked marijuana, made love and fell asleep. She also refutes the accusation that she and Kercher didn't get along, and insists that she signed the confession that implicated Lumumba only because she was under intense pressure from the police. November 18, 2009, Gade places Knox at the crime scene, the Knox-Solesito trial nearing its end. Gade makes headlines during his separate appeal with a spontaneous statement in which he recounts Knox and Kercher getting into an argument before the latter's killing by an unidentified man. Gade later sees his sentence reduced to 16 years. December 4, 2009, Knox and Solesito are convicted, at the conclusion of a trial that saw more than 50 hearings and dozens of witnesses called.
Police did not find one speck of physical evidence to tie Amanda to the bedroom where the murder took place, but they did find this knife with Meredith and Amanda's DNA on it in Raffaele's kitchen. The prosecution maintained that it was the weapon that killed Meredith Kercher.
The defendants are convicted of Kercher's murder, with Atiri Knox sentenced to 26 years and Solesito receiving a 25-year sentence. Additionally, the two are ordered to pay more than $7 million to Kercher's family, and Knox ordered to pay Lumumba around $60,000 for defamation. June 27, 2011, the appeal begins. Knox and Solesito's appeal opens with Gade testifying against his former two co-defendants. He also denies a claim by another convict that Gade had confided to him that Knox and Solesito were innocent. July 25, 2011, forensic experts call the evidence into question. Two court-appointed experts testify that the knife reportedly used in the attack carried no trace of blood and that there was no DNA on the bra clasp that police used to implicate Solesito. October 3, 2011, Knox and Solesito's convictions are overturned. An appellate court jury of 6 citizens and 2 judges overturned the convictions of Knox and Solesito in Perugia. Knox, who had delivered a tearful statement in Italian earlier in the day, is overcome by emotion and assisted out of the court. March 26, 2013, Italy's highest court orders a new trial. Italy's Court of Cassation reopens the case by overturning the acquittal. Knox, who had since returned to Seattle, Washington, and was set to release a book about her ordeal, decried such a ruling when the prosecution's theory of my involvement in Meredith's murder has been repeatedly revealed to be completely unfounded and unfair. September 30, 2013, the retrial begins, 3 months after the Court of Cassation issues its reasoning that criticized the deficiencies, contradictions and illogical conclusions of the appeals court. A new trial opens in Florence without Knox and Solesito present. January 30th, 2014, Knox and Solesito are reconvicted of murder. Following 11.5 hours of deliberations, a jury convicts Knox and Solesito for a second time, the judge tacking on 2.5 years to the former sentence. Solesito is ordered to surrender his passport, while Knox, legally in Seattle, will not have to worry about extradition unless the ruling is upheld. The Court of Cassation ends the long-running legal saga by overturning the convictions of Knox and Solesito, save for the former's defamation of Lumumba. Knox released a statement describing her as tremendously relieved and grateful for the outcome. January 24, 2019, Italy is ordered to pay damages to Knox, while her legal problems were already resolved. The European Court of Human Rights adds icing to the victory cake by ordering Italy to pay Knox more than $20,000 in damages for the harsh interrogation she endured early in the investigation. I am grateful for their wisdom in acknowledging the reality of false confessions and the need to reform police interrogation methods, Knox writes afterward in her blog.
American co-ed Amanda Knox walks free. This was an extraordinary day in Italy and all over the United States.
Immediate liberation. She didn't commit the crime. The words of the judge. For 4 years, Amanda Knox has been in jail. Tonight, she's free.
Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it and wish to see more, click the subscribe button alongside with the notification bell. You can also like the video and comment to let us know about your thought on this case, as well as if you want us to cover any other one.